What is PowerShell? Hi, I'm Don Jones, and you probably, unless you've been living under a rock, heard about Windows PowerShell, and you probably think you know what it is. Maybe you think it's a scripting language, or maybe you think it's a command line shell, but it's really kind of none of those things, and all of those things. And if you're going to take advantage of PowerShell, it's important to understand what it really is. This is Windows PowerShell. Interestingly, this is also Windows PowerShell, and it might surprise you to learn that this is also Windows PowerShell. Well, sort of. You see, Windows PowerShell is an execution engine. It's kind of a background thing, and it runs commands that accomplish tasks, such as creating new Active Directory users or installing roles on a server. You, as a human being, can't actually interact directly with that PowerShell engine. You need some sort of interface. This graphical user interface, Server Manager, is one such interface. When I click links and go through wizards and click buttons in here, really behind the scenes, I'm just generating Windows PowerShell commands. There's some other tools like that. The Active Directory Administrative Center is one of them. So I can come in here and I can open up a user's properties, and this is a grand graphical user interface, and it's all nice and pretty, but look at the bottom, Windows PowerShell history. These are the commands that get run to accomplish whatever tasks I'm performing. So if I want to create a new user, for example, when I click OK, a PowerShell command actually ran under the hood to do that. New AD user, set AD account control, set AD user. Now, one of the ways that you'll probably spend a lot of time interacting with Windows PowerShell is this console. This is where you get to manually type out the commands that you want it to run. It's important to understand that Windows PowerShell is not a scripting language. It is a shell, much like the Unix shells out there, Bash, C shell, and so forth. Like those shells, Windows PowerShell does contain a scripting language, but at the basic level, you can just run commands. Get process gets me a list of processes. Now, what's neat is that these commands can be connected to one another in something called a pipeline. So I'm going to take the output of get process, and I'm going to pipe it to another command called sort object and ask it to sort those on the paged memory property. And then I'm going to change my mind and have it sort them in descending order. And then I'm going to decide that maybe that's too much, so I'm going to pipe that output to another command and have it just select the first 10. And there I go, the 10 processes that are using the most paged memory on my system. So I didn't have to write a complicated script to do that. It's a command. Now at some point, I might want to decide, this command I kind of run fairly frequently, so I'm going to copy that to the clipboard. I'll run the integrated scripting environment, paste that in, and save it, and we'll call it get top 10 processes.ps1. Well, now it's a script. Now, instead of typing that out manually, I just run get top, and I'll hit tab to complete the name of that. So I can repeat that. Now, did I write a script? Yeah, sort of. I tend to think of these more as a batch file, but whatever you want to do. You can even get fancier with them. For example, maybe I want to do this against a different computer sometimes, so I'll define a parameter that can accept a computer name, and on get process, rather than getting the local processes, I'll get the ones from whatever parameter that was. I can save that. I'll go back to the console and demonstrate it. Now I can add my script computer name parameter, give it the name of a computer, and it'll retrieve the top 10 processes from that computer, assuming I have permission and that all the right services and everything else are running. So it's really kind of easy to go from using this as a command line shell to a batch language or a scripting language. And the neat thing about PowerShell is you don't have to learn all of its capabilities up front. You can start small just by running a command or two, and as you need to do more things, you can learn how to do those things, and you'll gradually build that skill set over time rather than having to kind of choke it all down all at once. There's a lot of built-in discovery mechanisms like the help command that helped me find get process in the first place. There it is right there, get process. The help for individual commands that helped me learn how to use this thing, including all of the built-in examples and all sorts of great stuff. So you don't even have to spend a lot of time on Google or Bing looking up syntax. A lot of it is right here for you. So Windows PowerShell is a shell. It's designed to accomplish things. You can interact with it through this console interface, through its integrated scripting environment, and sometimes through the graphical user interfaces that you're already familiar with as they run PowerShell commands in the background. The good ones will actually show you what commands they're running so that you can use that as another PowerShell learning experience. No matter how you choose to use PowerShell, it is powerful, and it's worth your time to get used to it and start using it for all sorts of different tasks in your environment. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.